Tune in to Heel of the Ring podcast on the Sports Jedi Network channel. May the sports be with you. Because I am the hero the Sports Jedi deserves, but not the one it needs right now. Long live Lexus King.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Heel of the Ring podcast here on the Sports Jedi Network. We have a special guest coming down from South Texas. But first and foremost, before we do that, a wonderful introduction, let's bring my partner in crime. We will be introducing our guest, the one and only PGA Chris. Salute, Chris.
What is up, guys? What is up? Yeah, I'm going to say this every single time. Grind does not stop. We're here interviewing, some great talent. And we're going to talk to you, we're going to have a guest talk to you guys about his story in wrestling. I'm really excited. We're going to keep doing this. So like Kev said, I'm going to introduce you guys, Texas own Yohynnes Joseph. Brother, thank you so much for joining our show, brother. How are you? Thank you. Welcome.
Not bad. I'm feeling good. How about y'all, man? How y'all feeling?
We good, are brother.
Honored that you're with us.
I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all.
Go ahead, Kev.
Absolutely, man. We appreciate the time here. And I know when I was checking you out and watching you, I see your story begins New York made, Texas living, and now hopefully to the world. Tell us your origin story. How do you get into this love that we cover professional wrestling? How did you be able to fall in love with it to where now you're in the ring and you're having success? Tell us your origin story. Where did the love begin?
I guess it started when cause I was still in New York, but I was still kind of catch wrestling, and then I came over here and I started watching it a lot more. Like I remember Eddie Guerrero when he beat Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 20 with the boot, and then I kept watching some more. I remember when Rey Mysterio won the belt afterwards as well. I was alive for a lot of that. I was alive when, you had the Battle of the Billionaires, when Bobby Lashley and Umaga, when you had Batista and Undertaker, they wrestled for the world title. Cena and Shawn Michaels. It was pretty much just face versus face, but it was awesome. So I remember a lot of that. And then around middle school, high school, I discovered indie wrestling.
Okay.
So I found out what. Ironically, I went to TASW when they would have the Compalooza, and then I went to a row show as well, a reality wrestling Booker T school, and they had a show there too. And I was like, oh sure, he had a school in Texas and everything. Da, 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 da. And then I did amateur wrestling in high school.
I saw that.
Yeah, for 2 or 3 years. Finished it up. I even dabbled in some backyard for a little bit, and then one day I got into a lucha show, and then one of the pros told me, "Hey man, you need to get some better training, man. Get some better training. You want to take this seriously? You could have hurt yourself, blah blah." So then I had to talk with one of my good friends, and he said I was scared of leaving, and I was like, I don't know how they feel about me. He's like, well, they kind of really feel that right about you anyway. So I was like, hey, I gotta take a chance on myself. And then July 2nd, I think, 2019. All the way up until February 13th, 2021, that was my training, my debut. And then the funny thing is I debuted February 13th, 2 months after my 21st birthday, and all of Houston shut down for that freeze. So it was like it's the most up and down thing that ever happened. It's just so funny looking back at it now. Oh yeah.
Let me ask this follow-up question. When you're getting into the ring and you're now starting the journey in the pro wrestling scene, how much of the amateur background really helped you to either footing, timing? Talk about that, about your amateur background, because you have had a good, successful one in your high school. And how does it help you translate to your current state right now in professional wrestling?
It helps a lot with timing and footing. With just making sure your placement is where it is and what you need to do, and making sure everything's aligned properly with running lanes and safe zones and stuff like that. Making sure that you're able to get the person where they need to be, where you want them to be at the exact time that you need to be. So it helps a lot with that. It basically builds a foundation.
It builds a great foundation. Did you ever think about, before professional wrestling, amateur wrestling into the Olympic or scenery, or did that never just didn't cross your mind at that time?
I wanted to go to do it in college or whatever, but it just didn't work out that way. I ended up getting like an injury my last week, but recently I did just win a gold medal in an amateur wrestling tournament. The week, the,
Congratulations.
yeah, the week after I won the cruiserweight title on Mania weekend, I went to a tournament. I just won the medal. So yeah,
Congratulations. Wow. Double dipping in the amateur background as well as the Cruiserweight Championship. Awesome. We're going to get to that journey in a moment. I want Chris to get in here and I'm going to tag him in for a couple of questions as well.
No, you're good. I actually was going to bring up your high school wrestling, amateur background wrestling days, because my best friend was a really good wrestler here in Pennsylvania. But when now you say you did WrestleMania weekend, you won your cruiserweight title, and now you're still doing the amateur wrestling tournaments. Are you still doing that because to still stay in shape, work out? Is that helping you translate to the pro wrestling style, or is that just something you don't want to give up? You loved doing when you were in high school. What makes you still want to do that amateur wrestling? Does that help you a lot to get into your pro wrestling?
a little column A, column B.
Okay,
Like,
yeah.
like I want to do it and I want to keep it, stay in shape, but also want to do because I want to keep doing it and I want to try to achieve as much as I can. So like the tournament I went to, I did freestyle. This next
Yeah.
one, this next one I'm trying to register for is folk style, and hopefully like some Greco and Roman. And I'm trying to accomplish as much as I can, at least on the level of the independent amateur wrestling scene. That's not college or anything. So.
Right, yeah. They're also getting a bigger, scene in the independent amateur wrestling world. So I'm happy you're, still breaking into that world. Talk to me a little bit about your early training days. When you're, obviously we're talking about your background in amateur wrestling. So I'm assuming like the taking the bumps, stuff like that has to come a little more natural for you, I assume. Talk to me about your early training days. How hard was that for you when you first got into the ring? Were you nervous for your first match? Going in with an opponent. Talk to me about that.
You're talking about for my pro wrestling career, like
your pro wrestling career, yeah.
So
because that's a big transition.
Yeah, it is. For a while, it was like I would because it was natural to bump, but then it wasn't natural to bump because as an amateur wrestler, you're not used to it being on your back.
Right. Yeah. Right.
It was like if you're jiu-jitsu, then that's normal for you. But it wasn't really. So I had to kind of get over that. But other than that, I was kind of a natural learner. I was a bit fast, so they kind of had to work on me with that and my speed. But as far as just picking up certain things, they said I was kind of a quickish learner.
Nice.
When I had my first match, I was a bit nervous or whatever. But then after a while, like I kind of got used to it. Because that's kind of how it is in amateur wrestling. It was like you can get a little nervous, but you know that once you step out there and you go out there, you can't mess up, and you gotta do as much as you can when you can, and do it as good as you can, because you can't lose focus.
Absolutely. No, that especially when you're in the ring, with other people, especially, you can't lose your focus. And one more thing before I give it back to Kev.
Yeah.
When you first start wrestling, who are some of the people that, trained you in the beginning that really got you your confidence to go in the ring? Still now, whether it's a trainer, a wrestler, a family member, who are some of your mentors, when it comes to, pro wrestling?
If I had to talk about the main trainers, I would say, for one, it was a guy named, he used to wrestle. He doesn't wrestle anymore. He just runs the back of it a lot. His name is Terry Calhoun, up in Texas All-Star, TASW. So he's the main trainer. We have a guy named Scobie Gober. I think he's Wildcat Scobie Gober. That's his name. We had the guy named Jason Sullivan, big 350-pound guy who would give you a mean elbow drop from the top rope. And, yeah, I'm taking that elbow drop. And we also had a guy at one point named Lowrider who would try to train us and give us different things. Because what all four of them would do is, it's the same thing, but like I would separate it in my head as Terry's he would turn the training into a drill. He was very good at drills. Scobie was good at, make sure the move placement is right. Sully was good at psychology. And Lowrider was good at making us do cardio.
Okay, so you got something out of all of them.
Yeah.
Nice. I love that. Go ahead, Kev.
Yeah, speaking of that, with all the different coaches and molding you and shaping you up, what do you consider yourself? A wrestler with shoot style, amateur, where you bring some amateur shoot style with your background with wrestling, or do you like the lucha libre style, high flying, or you're a technician that wants to do submission holds? What is your when I'm prepping to go with against you? What am I expecting?
I feel myself as like a kind of like amateur style. I can do some technical stuff with some power moves in there, but I feel like I can almost kind of adapt to anybody. Like I can adapt to lucha people, I can adapt to brawler people, I can adapt to high flyer people type things or whatever. Not that I have to change my style up, but I can
Correct.
put me in my legs to be able to keep up with what they're able to do in the ring.
And does that help you being part of where you're at in South Texas to see the lucha style? Because I know that's incorporated a lot where you're at in your schools and in the promotions you wrestled in. Does that help you see a little bit something different and sharpen your style of wrestling? Because like you said, you're not changing to them, but your counter attacks have to be for the luchadors. Am I correct?
Yeah, and you have to be able to see different things or whatever. Because if you don't, then you won't be able to evolve, and you have to be able to work with and go against all these different people or whatever. And you have to be able to work with this guy, work with that guy, work with this guy, work with that guy, because you're gonna have to. Like one of our main champions right now is Estrella Galactica and Nate Bradley. They're the tag champions, and me and my tag partner, who by the way is now the current cruiserweight champion. Sorry guys, he took it off me at Compalooza this weekend, but we wrestled.
How long ago? This weekend?
It was this. Oh, yeah, I'm so sorry, guys. It's okay. It's okay. 70 days.
You'll get it,
70 days. Oh yeah. One day. Oh yeah. But I had to wrestle my partner the day before, and then we had to wrestle Nate Brown and Estrella Galactica the next day. And that's just like you got to be able to do one thing and go to the next thing. You got to be able to have a fatal four-way and then do a tag match in the main event the next day.
Talk about can they coexist? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
And let me ask this question about that. How is that mental aspect of being a champion for 70 days? How did you prepare yourself mentally? Because they're trusting you as the face of the cruiserweight division. How did that prepare you mentally? How did you get yourself focused and prepared?
I just thought of it as, hey, you've been training since 2019. It's 2025. You've been here about 6 years. They gave the belt for you won the belt for a reason. You became the champion for a reason. I won it in a ladder match, out of all things, at Rumble at our big show. Yeah, like it was crazy. Like my partner, he spun the ladder around. He hit me in the elbow. He split one of the bad guys' elbows open. He threw me into the ladder. I headbutted the guy as I was getting the title. Like it was a whole lot of roller coaster emotions that day. And I look at it, hey, all that bad stuff and good stuff that happened for a reason, because I was meant to be the champion. And I looked at it every time. I was like, hey, you got to defend it for a reason. You got to up your game more. That's just how I see it.
By the way, is that video on your YouTube channel? By the way, his information is scrolling on the bottom. So please check out his YouTube channel and check out all these videos and all his matches there. And also give a subscribe. Don't be cheap. It costs nothing. It's totally free. I subscribe. That's nothing wrong with that. Slide it over, hit the subscribe button, and support.
You can find me winning the title on my Instagram page.
Even better.
Yes, it's on my Instagram. It's just like a good minute and a half clip of me just pulling the belt down, headbutting the guy. So that's pretty fun.
But, awesome, Chris. I'll send it over to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. One of the things I like to ask, with the Texas wrestlers, because a lot of the Texas wrestlers we've talked to, they haven't really. They're still trying to make themselves known and to make them names for themselves in their Texas bubble and try to expand out in the state. And none of them really have gotten, outside state, none of that. Are you still at the point now where, you're still trying to make a name for yourself in Texas and, go city to city, or have you wrestled outside of the state and other cities before?
I haven't really wrestled outside the state yet, but I have done a few different cities or whatever. I've done like Dallas, I've done like San Antonio, Beaumont, I've done like Nacogdoches,
so the bigger Texas markets.
Yeah. And then so I pretty much wrestled like a decent amount of time in Texas, and I'm still trying to branch out myself in other parts of Texas or whatever. No, I'm not. I am focused on branching out, but at the end of the day, I look at it as quality over quantity. So
Right.
if I only could just wrestle All Star and maybe Hurricane Pro and maybe this other Fed and da. I don't mind that. But if I can work another Fed that treats me right and if it's a few hours away, but they take care of me, give me good matches and pay me right, then I don't mind that either. So I'm good either way.
I don't blame you. You know, speaking of that follow up, what are some of the in terms of traveling around, what are some of the places you would like to go to and would like to wrestle, and what are some of the states or cities in the future, when you get there, because you're going to get there, you're champion, you're training a lot, hard work's going to pay off. What are some of the cities that you're looking forward to in your future to go out and wrestle in? Because there's a lot of crazy wrestling cities in the country. You can hear me, Kev, right?
Yes, we hear you. He's just changing his settings for a minute. Probably, yeah. Give 1 second. We have Yohynnes Joseph joining us here, of course, as he having a little bit of difficulties. Let's make sure that can hear. Check your settings on the StreamYard app. I heard you just a moment there.
There we
You
go. There we go.
All right, yeah. That's
No, that's okay.
No, you're good, brother.
You're good. You're good.
So what did you?
I got you. So following up on that, right? There's a lot of great wrestling cities in the country in the future, because you're gonna get there. You have great training. You're cruiserweight champion. You are gonna have opportunities in the future to branch out. What are some of the cities or states in the future that you're excited to go to?
Maybe a little more technical difficulties. Hold on. We'll get through it. We'll get through it. We can't hear you right now. We cannot hear you right now, but let him. If you want, you could go ahead and reset or reset your browser if you like on your settings, and we can hold on to that for a minute. It's live. That's those are the issues that happen whenever you do a live stream. Everything. Those are the type of technicals I've had them many times.
Me too.
So we're talking about him, former high collegiate amateur wrestler who just won a medal recently about on WrestleMania weekend, as also was former TASW Cruiserweight champion. Let's see. Are you back with us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you
hear me?
Yes, I got you both now.
There we go, brother.
There we go. All right, there we go.
No problem. No problem. Dude, it happens to us more than you know. Trust me. Trust me. If our playback, we have a lot of issues. Don't worry.
Yes.
But let me go back to that, right? Your cruiserweight, we're talking about how, you're still trying to, get out there in Texas in the future. When the time's right, you're going to branch out and go to other states and cities. I'm just curious, while we're on that, what are some of in the future, because you're going to get there, what are some of the different states and cities around the country you're really excited to wrestle in, like New York, California, Philadelphia? What are some of the cities in your career you're looking forward to? Because it's going to happen, brother. Hard work's going to pay off.
I wouldn't mind wrestling somewhere in like House of Glory in New York.
Yes.
I wouldn't mind.
I think you'd be a good fit for House of Glory, New York.
Yeah.
Wouldn't mind wrestling them. I know here in Texas we have a place called DFW and VIP. That's like one of the top places in Dallas or whatever, where a lot of big talent come in.
Nice.
VIP. I wouldn't mind working. I think it's NYWC, New York Wrestling Connection, I believe. They're pretty good up there. And then hopefully, honestly, I want to just one day just kind of leave the States and just go like maybe Japan for a little bit or something like that, like Pro Wrestling Noah. That's been a goal of mine for a little bit now.
Nice.
So yeah, I wouldn't mind working down.
I could see you in Japan. A lot of people on our program, when we ask them, where would they like to go, it's always Japan. So, Kev, I think that's a good answer.
Absolutely, and everyone always says Japan and all. Here's one of my questions. Tell us about your in-ring. Are you a baby face or heel, or which one of the two do you enjoy working as? Is there a differentiation, or wherever's needed that night? If you need me to be the baby face, I'll be it. If you need me to be the heel, I'll be the heel. What is your preference, and what are you normally comfortable in?
Sometimes I can do both, but I mostly like at All Star. I'm a babyface. I'm a good guy, and at other places I try to be a heel, which in turn will make me being a babyface at All Star more special because I'm only a babyface really up there. So everywhere else I try to do heel stuff or whatever, do heel work because I feel like you gotta learn how to work both. You gotta learn how to be able to do both. Flair and Dusty knew how to be babyface and heel.
Absolutely, absolutely. Good persons to look at that as well, and something that also brings versatility.
Yeah.
When in the baby face, the art of the struggle, the selling, and the heel and getting the heat from either the crowd, your opponent, and all and so forth. So, good job there with that on your answer. And now tag team. Talk to me about your tag team. Are you comfortable being a tag, or do you like the pursuit of your independent one on singles, or do you just whatever is needed from Yohynnes, you're there?
I like being tagging in singles though. Like I don't, especially with the guy I'm tagging with, Great Bodhi, because we've been training together for a while or whatever. And like he came in like the year during COVID had stopped or whatever, like 2021. We were opening stuff back up. So he came in, his first day. He helped me put the ring up with Terry inside the school, and we just kind of bonded a little bit ever since. And he just kind of worked his way up, and now we're teaming together. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. Like we would go to
Right.
shows, or we would go to GCW together, and like Coliseo and Loco and stuff like that. We would go to wrestling shows together and hang out and talk and stuff like that. So I'm glad to be teaming with him.
All right. I like that. I like that answer there. What in the next short-term goal? What is your short-term goal currently right now to end 2025 right now? Is it returning, getting that TASW Cruiserweight title or more? Yes, that's the one. That's a big one. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I gotta get. Yeah, I mean, I love him. He's my tag partner and everything, but he knows I'm gonna come back for my round. He knows I'm gonna get my legs back, so he knows I'm gonna come back for the belt. I
All
gotta
right,
have more.
getting. I like that. I like that. I like that. Now, by the way, his information is scrolling here and also for his bookings. Please, Your Highness 123 at gmail.com. Please, all our friends that watch our podcast on all the former talent, all the wrestlers that have been as our podcast that are looking for opponents that would like to try a different style or a different opponent from not just your typical northern Eastern or Florida or even Puerto Rico, give an opportunity to Texas. You could have that collaboration back and forth. Maybe you get some bookings in Texas back and forth. Here's his information, all the information of all our talent that has joined us. I always post them. I always try to promote them. So of course, bookings is something big. So they will love an opportunity. It's a chance to also see a different crowd, experience a different crowd, a different set of eyes. Maybe a coach might see something in his match that could just help him tweak or just tighten the screws just a little bit or dot an I here or there, where it's just going to help them elevate to another level in their wrestling career. So that's why networking and collaboration is a huge part. And I'm going to steal this question from Chris. How does the influence of social media helps you just spreading your word and promoting yourself? How big is that in your career?
It's because a lot of people will tell you need to do networking and promoting and stuff because that's how you get to the big leagues and da. But I think the gap that they're missing is like because we've had seminars with guys like QT from AEW and Gabe Sapolsky where they just say they just kind of scroll past it nowadays. But I think social media is supposed to help you get bookings at your more local federations, so that way the big feds can see you popping off on like the actual videos and stuff like that. Because they could follow you and everything, but they'll probably just because they see hundreds of videos every day, and they could probably just scroll past you. But if they're seeing you pop up at more bookings at more places that they're at or whatever, then that's what the social media helps you get. It helps you get more of the local bookings, so that way the bigger bookings can look at you and say, "Hey, there's something good with this kid. They keep getting him. He must be good somehow, and I like his work." So I think that's what it plays. It's a small building block in a larger scale.
And that's why we tell you, those that are watching, that hearing us, please, in the videos in the description, check out his YouTube channel, subscribe, also share it on his Instagram. There's all videos of him wrestling, winning that cruiserweight title on the ladder match, like he mentioned earlier. Take a look at it, hit a like, retweet it, reshare it. You never know. Again, you never know. You only need that one person to watch that one video, that one match, and a booking could be amplified in a career life changing direction. So you never know that. Even again, no matter again, like he said, quality over quantity. You never know that one. That's why I always tell someone, you never know in a match. The building might be 50 people, but that one, the only need is that one person to change the trajectory of your life. The same thing here in a podcast. You never know who's listening. That one person that could be listening could be the one person that could totally change everyone's trajectory in their life. So always keep that positivity on there, on that. That's an advice from an older person to you to tell. And I think you have that. And it shows that from your demeanor, your the way you're conducting yourself. I think you're in the right track, your right path on it. And I know you're hungry, and it shows. And of course, with anything we could do to promote and get you over and just put the word of mouth. Look, I'm in Florida. I'm in Orlando. He's in Pennsylvania. Yeah. So we're in different parts of the country, and we're collaborating together with Texas. We had Puerto Rico on, we had New York, we had Pennsylvania, we have we're gonna have California next week. But you know what? That networking of different independent wrestlers, and that's why we want to hear your story, because your story might motivate someone in Chicago, or somewhere in Georgia that wants to get in pro wrestling and has an amateur background and so forth. That's why we love doing these spotlights, man. So we could hear your story and just say, yeah, you know what? You're just like one of us, but you're living a dream, and we want to support it. We want to cheer you on from the sidelines, and we want to make sure that your journey gets amplified. A drop at a time will fill up a gallon. So that's what we want to be in this podcast world.
Awesome. Appreciate it. I appreciate it.
And Chris, you have a question? Because we're up.
Yeah, I got two more. I'll ask these two more. Because I did want to talk about your QT Marshall seminar before it was brought up, because that's a big deal. Training and then finally getting to be in this, learning from somebody who has a big name in the industry. I am a fan of QT. I think he does really great work. What was, being in the seminar with QT, what was your kind of, I don't want to say, reaction or like thought prep, but you're in a room and you're learning, getting trained by one of the biggest names, in AEW, in wrestling. Talk to me about that experience, and how did that feel for you, to get learned, to get mentored by somebody like that for a day?
Hopefully, no technical difficulties. One second. Of course, that's something that happens with our StreamYard application. Just a little bit of a technical glitch in a moment here. Of course, we're talking to Yohynnes Joseph from South Texas, of course, former TASW Cruiserweight champion. Of course, for your bookings, you have his information there. He'll join us in a second as his video paused a little bit there.
That's it.
And of course, we're going to be pretty soon. He's getting his technical difficulties there. He's 1 second. Yeah, don't worry. Reset your browser. That's normally the best way of just refreshing the browser, and we'll put you back on joining us here. So he's got a little bit of a technical difficulties. I'm going to put you in the green room for a moment. Just let us just wave when you're back on it. So yeah, we have a great interview here going on. I'm getting to know this young man. He's going to log back in. It looks like he's back on with us. You're back on with us, so let's see if we can hear you. That's no biggie. That's no issue, no problem.
Take your time, brother.
Yes, there's no Roma's in building today, but we'll get it fixed. That's all. That's how it goes. And of course, we're definitely going to bring him back on. He's going to log in back out, and we got a couple more questions here. Not too much of his time. We're gonna just a couple, 4 more questions lightly there, and we'll bring him back on because we appreciate his time. We appreciate every talent that gives us their time here, and that's what we want. We want to spotlight them. We want to get them over. We want to hear their story, and hopefully it gets amplified. And other podcasters want to. You know what? I want to hear more about him myself. I have other questions that I want to ask them, and of course, it's not about he's only exclusively for one podcaster. No, hopefully he gets more bookings and more opportunities to tell his story and other podcasters and other platforms. That's what we want. We want, we don't mind being a stepping stone for these men and women to get their story amplified and told all across our platform. So we'll get him back on in a second. We got a couple questions going forward. We found out he's an amateur background wrestler from high school. Born and raised in New York City, moved to Texas, doing the Texas circuit right now in his professional wrestling career. He likes to work diversely as a babyface, as a heel, also as a tag team with his tag team partner. Unfortunately, had a match with his tag team partner who knows him better than a tag team partner, and he lost his cruiserweight title recently over the weekend, but he's looking to get it back, but also won the tag team champion. So an up and down euphoria with his tag team partner. What a roller coaster of emotions in the last 24 hours for Yohynnes Joseph, but he's ready to go. He's up and battling, always looking to get better. As Chris, when he gets back, we want to hear his take on being in that seminar with QT Marshall, and we want to find out what
that's a big deal because again, all these wrestlers we talked about, they're getting trained to get to the AEWs, the WWEs, the TNAs, the big companies, or they just want to make a good living. So it's really important, that, like Kev said, we take the time to tell, make sure these wrestlers get their stories across because they're just like us, but these guys are actually in the ring.
All right.
I want to get to that question. Yes, you said the QT thing. And what was it?
Yes. How's that, brother? No, dude, no problem. Hell yeah.
No problem.
No, it was very fun. Me and my tag partner got to go. Great Bodhi.
Nice.
There was like a good 15, 14 of us. I know a few of them had to go because they had to do just part of it, and only maybe about 10 of us were actually I think on shows and training. So we had some matches.
Nice. You got to have matches in front.
Yes.
Nice.
We got we did drills, and I learned with him that you want to get all your stuff in, but I think you have to realize and you got to pull back and just be like, hey, listen to what they say. And all he said is hey guys, I like people who can follow directions. And then we did some spots, and then we ran some spots in our match, and then we did the match, and then he said, yeah, I think. And he even let us cut promos. He when I explained to him what my name meant and that it's my real name, he was like, "Yeah, just use that from now on." I had to come with QT. You have the best name you got. Okay, so he liked that. When we did our match, he said, "Yeah, you guys went 5 minutes. You guys did good. Maybe just be a little bit work on the punches a little bit more and be a little more safer with them. But other than that, you guys did good. You're fine." And I think we probably the second best match. I think the one that beats us is this woman named Queen Uju and Rashay Chanel, who's another person who trained me when I first started and still comes up and trains me now. In fact, I just saw her yesterday at training. So, and she's been going at it for a long time, and they had an awesome match, 5 minutes. So yeah, that's what it was, and you're learning from someone who's at the top of the kind of the hiring level of basically saying, yeah, this is what we want and this is what we like. And and I asked him a question. I said, well, what's the difference between how it is back then and how it is now? He said, well, look at Bobby Roode when he was on WWE Velocity, and look at Bobby Roode now. That he has it put together, that he has everything together, that he knows every inch of who he is, and that he has the whole package. And I think, and that's what I kind of learned from him as well. He let us go for I remember we had some questions. I remember one guy, he even said, hey, can I get hired off of being viral or whatever? And he was saying he's like, no, not really. He's like, it's kind of different now than it was back then. Because back then they would kind of, especially I think during the 2010s and the 2010s, people got hired.
Early 2020s too.
Yeah.
I mean, even I would 2010, even 2017, I would say. A lot of they would do that. So yeah.
Yeah, like Leo Rush, he got famous for his stuff at the table spots. He got signed. Paul London, even who was one of my favorites. Please Don't Die. He was kind of like a semi-known indie guy, and they snapped him up right when they could. So now it's a little bit different, because I think now it's back then. He even said back then you get a truckload of guys, And there's some WWE guys who have said this. You can get like a truckload of guys and just take them to a random WWE show, and they all get heat matches or velocity matches. But nowadays there's a lot more. Like nowadays there's like a lot more structure into it, and they're figuring out who they want. And there are exceptions to the rules, obviously, but you still got to make sure you have your stuff together and everything. Because now you got like stuff like medical, you got to get your paperwork filled out and all that.
Right.
Now more responsibility has been thrown on the companies now. So yeah,
Yes.
it's different. So no, yeah, just being able to hear that from him, just being like, yeah, I didn't think I'd ever make it into big time wrestling federation, and now I'm in AEW and I'm an EVP. So yeah, he just being able to hear that feedback from him and hear him say things like that is very comforting. Very gave me a sign of hope that like, hey, we can all
Gave you some confidence too.
Yeah,
When somebody like that's praising you and saying, hey, you have a real chance to do something. I mean, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's why I wanted to ask about your experience, because QT seems like a really good dude just by all the interviews. I've been to a couple of shows where he's been at for AEW in my area. So he's cool. He's a cool dude. One thing, and this will be my last one, Kev. One thing I want to know is what would you say right now is something that you would like to improve in the ring? Because like you said, when QT you did the seminar, you cut promos. Is it your promos? Is it the in-ring? Is it the psychology? Is it what would you think that, what would you, something that you really want to improve on in the ring? What would that be? What would you like your biggest weakness that you want to improve on?
I would say biggest things is I'd probably have to improve on is when I'm put in certain compromising positions. So like if I'm put on a pre-show and there's only 30 people, or when you're on a lucha show and they set the show early and there's only 25 people, but the building can fit 150. That's what I want to fit into. I want to be able to like, because it's first of all, the idea of having a pre-show on an indie show is really Godsmack when we think about it. It's very odd, but when you're on a pre-show and it's 25 people and the building can be like 100, 150. But now those 25 people are thinking, well, why am I here watching this match if it's not that many people here? So sometimes their energy is kind of low. And sometimes I think as a face, it can be a little bit harder to bring them into it. Because I think as a heel, as long as you terrorize them a bit more,
right?
You can kind of pull them in just a little bit. So that when that baby face hits me, they'll be cheering and popping. So that's all I want to kind of like adjust to stuff like that. Probably I might end up just probably wrestling. I need to wrestle more of our students or more students in general, just so I can get used to working greener guys and being able to adjust to them and to adapt to them, whatever. So that way, because that's what keeps me up on my toes.
Right.
That's what keeps me up on my toes. Because that's what we had. Because that's why we had our guy. He was our resident student wrestler, kind of. He wasn't a student wrestler, but he wrestled students. His name was Jesse Logan, and he would outlaw Jesse Logan. He would kind of wrestle a lot of the students or whatever. So you'd always kind of have to go through him if you were debuting or whatever. Him or Dami Lagro. Was one of our mask gimmick guys, but yeah, those people were awesome. Yes.
I love it.
Let me piggyback on those statements you were making. First and foremost, when you said opening a indie show or being an opening match, remember what I just told you. My word of advice: you never know that one. You only need is that one person in the audience, a scout for anyone. It could be Dr. Tom Pritchard. It could be anybody from WWE, a scout, AEW, from any other of these schools to offer you an opportunity. From No Pro Wrestling Noah, you never know who's going to be there. Always have that mindset. It could be 4 people, but that 1 out of 4 could be that one guy that could change your trajectory. So always have that in mind. And I love what you said. If you're the baby face, how to get the crowd engaged. Well, that's the art of selling. Especially when you're getting beat by that baby face, so they can have that sympathy, even if those 25 people, so they can have that sympathy for you, and want to see you have that great comeback. And I like that you're admitting that psychology part of it is something that you're working on and you're challenging. Look, we all need to always want to improve. Now, even when you think you got it, like Roddy Piper says, I changed the questions. When you think you have the answers, I changed the questions. And I like that when you mentioned that. That's a real sharp mind, and I like the way you're thinking when it came to that answer. And also, when you mentioned about that just along with the heel, getting the crowd to dislike you, to grab that heat. It's more simple. I think sometimes it's being a heel is a little more simplicity than a baby face. Especially with different crowds you work at, because some crowd might not feel it might work in one part of the regions, that babyface tactic, and some places they're like, we're not buying it, we can see it, you got to make us feel a little more emotion. So I like that you're working on that, and you recognize that's an area that a lot of wrestlers should be able to, or try to identify and try to strive to always get better. And I love that answer there for it. I have a question here. I always ask that. I think we already know the answer, but I'll ask it always. If I'm telling you right now, get your passport, Your Highness, where are we sending you to train for 6 weeks? Where we're going to give you a tour to train, matches. Where are we sending you? Give me a region, a country. Are we sending you to Europe, to do the European indies and train there? Are we sending you to Japan? Are we going to send you to the Caribbean or Puerto Rico? Are we sending you to New York to get some New York wrestling, or we're going to Alberta, or we're going to go to Canada to learn that aspect? Where are we sending you right now in your heart of hearts? I'm stamping your passport where we're going.
It would be Japan, just anywhere in Japan, honestly, at this point. Because I wouldn't mind doing Noah. I wouldn't mind Michinoku Pro. I wouldn't also mind Dragon Gate, because we also did a seminar with Dragon Gate with Kizzy and Shimizu, because that's when we learned about their style, and they were kind of telling us, yeah, I was asking, hey, was it different for you guys back then? How many pushes did you have to do? And they were just saying, like, no, we just had to work up and being in the weight room. I'm like, yes, okay, because that was their thing back then, because they were kind of the smaller guys getting their own fed type of thing in Japan or whatever. So that was pretty cool for them. So yeah, I wouldn't mind working like Noah or whatever. If I could bring it back, I'd bring back Wrestle 1, because I like Wrestle 1 when Keiji Muto had it or whatever those years when I was watching on TNA and they brought it over. Like, that was pretty fun. Yeah, I would definitely like to work Japan. I wouldn't mind working New York either. I wouldn't mind going to New York as well, though. Get that New York strong style in me or whatever. Yeah, I wouldn't mind working that.
I'll tell you a story. Yesterday we had a wonderful female wrestler, Jada Kai. She joined us, and she said she had a match with a Japanese talent in the United States. The match went so well. The way they worked so much well chemistry wise, that from that alone, her promotion invited her to Japan to go and show them, would open up an opportunity for her when she got back to the States to become an MLW wrestler from that experience. So again, you never know, that one opportunity, that one moment could open up the doors. Again, that's an example. She gave us that wonderful example last night on our show. Also, what I mean is your school going to do any more? Should your school have any more bookings with some of these wrestlers from Japan, because it might open up some opportunities? Or do you want to push over some bookings, or communication, send your information to the schools in Japan or whatever the case is, back and forth, because I think that will help open up some opportunities for you?
My school will, every once in a while, we'll bring in some big talent, or our school is more like, we'll bring in talent that's been on big talent shows to help get them over. So like Nate Bradley, he was on Monday Night Raw, and he's on NWA. He's our current heavyweight champion. I believe he's at about, I think, at least 750 or over 760 days or whatever. He's like the longest reigning champion now. So we'll get people like that. We'll get people who worked Raw and stuff like that. So I think my school's more, they feel it's more beneficial to have guys who have gone there and that are going there to bring them on our shows and help them get more bookings, because we've been around for about 30 years. So at least 30 years. So our reputation is, hey, if we're bringing this guy in back and forth who's been places, then other places will bring them in back and forth. And we have Bob Murphy has such a good reputation in Texas that it's like, they'll know, so okay, it's a Bob Murphy guy, so I'll definitely use him. But yeah, I wouldn't mind hitting up some other schools or whatever either. I train at this one school every once in a while, Evolution Dojo. I like training with them, whatever. Miranda Alizé. She's done some Ring of Honor stuff, and I think some women's Tokyo wrestling stuff and stuff like that. So she's a good trainer to have. So yeah, I kind of talked with her. That's how I got that's how I knew about the QT seminar. Like, we went to go, me and my buddy went to go train there for a little bit, and then she told us about it, and then we ended up getting the spot on the seminar. So yeah,
Awesome.
It's always good to have some back and forth, and it's always good to have the right people with you too, because Miranda has always done me right, and Terry and Bob and them have always done me right, because Texas is so big.
Yes.
It's so big. Even Houston alone, like, there are parts that, like, I laugh because we have shows that say Cypress and say like this and that, humble, and like, oh, we're in Houston. Our wrestling school's in Houston, but it's like, you know, our shows are in other places. We look at the flyer, but Texas is so big is that everyone's trying to like get a chance to like spread out and talk. And there's even like one place that holds like a bunch of wrestling shows in a building every few months called Premier Arena, and they hold like a bunch of shows there. And you know, you never know who shows up, you never know who shows this and like that. And sometimes people can get paranoid because, you know, a lot of people can say like, you know, oh, I brought this talent in, and da 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 da. So listen to me, and da da da. Listen to me, this and that. And it gets in your head a little bit. But when you have people like, you know, like my trainers who I can trust and I can talk to them, they can say, hey, that person's either good or that person is full of shit or whatever. Don't listen to him, da da da. Like we had and Terry will laugh at this till this day. We had a person named Super Oprah. They do a game called Super Oprah. The best I can describe it is real life Medea, and they wrestled Queen Aminata.
Okay.
She's in AEW. Yeah. And the match is online, and they do a cannonball, and it breaks the top rope. And the promoter just did not know what to do. They tried to send me over there to do something. I'm like, they're still wrestling. I can't. Terry just goes to my show and say, hey, just let them finish their match. They'll be fine. And they finished their match, and we just putting the rope up or whatever. And they were just like, and looking back, and I can laugh at it or whatever. Just in that moment that, hey, he knew what to do more than the other guy, because Terry's been like since he was 16. He's been doing like 20 years.
Experience.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's starting like 2002. So he's been in it for a minute, and that's what you gotta have. Yeah, just have good people around you that can tell you.
It sounds like you're in some great hands with your coaches, your school. I've got my final question that let's do a little fantasy booking. I love to do this to all my talent. I always book it. I'm going to be the booker. I'm going to book you on for WrestleMania night 1 and night 2. You got both 2 nights. I'm going to book you to wrestle. Night 1, give me someone from your past that you would love to be in the ring, even if the person is not with us on this earth or from anywhere. And then night number 2, who is your fantasy match would you love to wrestle at night 2? Anybody from any promotion, anywhere, and it doesn't have to be a WWE wrestler. It could be anyone from anywhere. For night number 2, I'm booking you to wrestle Yohynnes Joseph. Who am I booking night 1 with?
Night 1, it would be me, and I would love to wrestle Norman Smiley, if you remember him.
Yeah, of course. A great coach in NXT. By the way, I bump into him on Saturdays at the bank once in a while. But over on Colonial, and I'm gonna give it the shout out to the branch Colonial and Ikanalahachi.
I'd love to wrestle Norman Smiley. He's an example of a guy who, because he also influenced like that, hey, I'm a great wrestler, but he knew how to also, when he went to another place, he knew how to adapt, and he was able to keep a job. So like when he was in Mexico, he knew how to wrestle. He knew how to be Black Magic. That was his name up there. And he ended up being the first African-American CMLL champion, which to me is a big thing, because you never hear Black heavyweight champions in Mexico. So for him to have that, and I think he was on like the 3rd or 4th ever CMLL champions, that's a big thing for me. And he was in WCW, you know, he wrestled for a bit, and he did some like enhancement talent for a little bit. But then towards the end, you know, he took that when they had the hardcore belt. Yes. He took that and he made that, like, I think like him, Terry Funk, and like Haku pretty much just made that belt. Like those are like the very fun parts of that championship. Like without that it would be barely even tolerable during that period, especially for WCW in 2000. Like, I think Norman Smiley was the man. He would come out in the hockey jersey or the sports jersey, and he would be scared and climb on the building. Like some say he's a jobber for life, but he had a job for life, and he knew how to make himself work. He knew how to build his art and collect his check. So I'll say that for him.
Yeah, I remember him from TNA back in the day. He was in TNA for a little bit in like 2007 or some shit. I remember him during that. Who your night 2 opponent be? Oh, sorry, Kev.
No, I was gonna say those performers in the Performance Center, they love Coach Norman Smiley.
Yes.
They adore him. And yes, give us your night 2 dream matchup.
My night 2 dream match would
somebody current.
Has to be current. Someone current? Okay.
I mean, it's your dream matchup. I mean,
dream match.
Let me see. Someone current. Honestly, If I can be very, 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 very honest, Shelton Benjamin.
Ooh,
The amateur
you guys
background.
both got
Yes.
that. Yeah, that's the
I like
first
it.
thing I thought of.
As soon as you said it, that's what came to my head.
He's also very good, and he came to our school once or twice too as well, and he kind of showed us that like he can do it, and he was a guy that had a lot of potential, and they always kept him around. Like he kind of had a long run at the DB too. Even kind of like his second run.
I watched him in a couple hours in AEW.
Oh yeah, he was also very, very good. So I wouldn't mind working him. Like, he's amazing.
Hell yeah, I love that
natural
one.
athlete.
Awesome, man. Well, we want to thank you for your time. We appreciate you joining us here on the Heal the Ring podcast. We will definitely be rooting your career from our platform. Anything we could do, we're promoting your show, promoting any wrestling show that you're in. Keep us advanced. Let us know in your wrestling career when you get that TASW Cruiserweight title. Let us know so we could put you over. Let us know all those things, man. Let us know. Hit us up because we say actions speak louder than words. Put us to the test because we want to, and we say that to all our guests. We want to continue to promote everyone that joins us because you guys gave us your time. You told us your story. You sat with us. You gave us an opportunity, and we don't forget that. When we're also trying to make ourselves out there in the platform of interviewing and helping us build a platform to help you guys tell a story, and we appreciate that. It's a two-way street, and we really appreciate you coming on with us and telling us your story. Nothing but mad success in your career going forward. You're a Ranger fan, a New York Ranger fan like me. Let's go. I know Chris Kreider's not on the team, but that's another story for another day. But it is what it is. But yeah, thank you, Yohynnes. We appreciate you joining us. This is the Heal the Ring podcast. You could follow all his social media platform, videos, bookings, all there on the video description. You see it on the thing. Remember, guys, I always tell you each and every day, don't let life pin you. Always kick out, get yourself over, and may the sports be with you. Que Dios lo me lo bendiga. We'll see you here on the Heal the Ring podcast. Thank you, guys. Good night. Stay. So we want to say goodbye at the